What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse back in another video. In today's video, we have another Chelsea news video. A little bit of a late upload. There was not much news today, so I tried to hold out for as much to come out as possible, just so I could, talk about the most that I possibly could on this video. And there was a second Fabrizio video in the time I waited, so a decent amount of news today. We can just jump in and begin. For Xavi Simons, Fabrizio on his DAZN streams that he does weekly said that last week he gave Xavi Simons a 70% chance to Chelsea on the here we go meter or something like that. And today on Monday he's going to give it 80%. It looks increasingly likely, still some work to do, but advanced. And then more. He said that Xavi is waiting for Chelsea at the same time, basically saying, not looking at any other club. Xavi is, just waiting for Chelsea to come in, agree with you with Rebel Leipzig, as well as agree on personal terms for him. So we can see how that develops, but there is more that I will talk about later on this video as to why the deal has not happened as of yet. And this is why. Fabrizio said that Chelsea remain in advanced talks over Xavi Simons, but no breakthrough yet for two reasons. Leipzig are focused on the Sesko deal right now, and then also Chelsea are focused on sales. Leipzig will clarify Xavi's situation after the Sesko deal. We know Sesko is favoring a move to Manchester United, so that was big breaking news. That Sesko did want to head over to Manchester United, and then we also know Chelsea are focused on their outgoings with, Ugo Chukwu, Kenan Hall, Carney Chukwemeka about to be out the door, and then the first two already out the door. We know Nkunku has to leave. We know Sterling has to leave. We know Broya left. We know Guiu left. We know Nicholas Jackson's headed out the door. We know Chilwell needs to leave. We know Renato Vega needs to leave. So even just then, that's already 10 players that I listed that 7 or 8 of them, or no, 6 of them need to find a move, excuse me. So yeah, we're focused on our sales. We know the players that will be leaving the club, and then Leipzig will also clarify the Xavi Simons situation after the Sesko deal, which will happen in the coming days, I expect. So, maybe there is a breakthrough on the Xavi deal sometime in the near future, which I kind of expect. I've been talking about that all week. I expect a breakthrough sometime this week, so he will be here for the first match day in the Premier League, or at least match week 2. I think that's when Xavi Simons will, feature. I think he'll be, a here we go by the first match day, and then officially feature in the second match day, if that makes sense. Kind of like a Joao Felix, where he gets presented, and then plays the next game after that. But yeah, the deal is ongoing, and Fabrizio said that Xavi Simons is also waiting for Chelsea to complete their outgoing. So seems like he's being completely patient on this move. I think he knows the deal is bound to happen, so he's, just holding out, being respectful towards Chelsea because he knows the deal is bound to happen at some point. So, respect to him for being patient. Obviously, he has Bayern Munich waiting. He has Arsenal waiting. If he does want to facilitate a move to any club, but it seems like the club he does want to move to is Chelsea, and he's just patiently waiting for them. So, fair play to Xavi. Seems like he's very keen on this move rather than, moving elsewhere in the Premier League or even to the top team in the Bundesliga in Bayern Munich. So, again, fair play to him for that. Really shows a level of, discipline on Xavi's side because the club he wants to go to, he is patiently waiting for. So, seems like he really wants to become a Blue, and I expect that to happen sometime in the near future. So, again, fair play to him for that. Moving on to Alejandro Garnacho, Fabrizio, again, on this DAZN stream that he had yesterday, said that Chelsea are advancing on the personal side with Alejandro Garnacho, basically saying personal terms won't be an issue, I'm guessing. I think they're just negotiating right now because this is a deal that will happen later in this transfer window. Obviously, it's the end of the transfer window if you want to take it retrospectively because it is August, but later in the transfer window as of now means late in August. I expect this to be sometime near deadline day. I think that's when we get Alejandro Garnacho, to be fair. I think we get him, August 28th, August 30th, somewhere around there. But we're just advancing on the personal side, getting on agreed personal terms, take this deal slow, and then if we get the, price to match up with Manchester United's valuation and then our valuation as well, then Alejandro Garnacho will become a Chelsea player. And Alex Crook did say Paul Winstanley is the one that's keen. Obviously, we have Winstanley and then we have Stewart. Win Stewart, if you want to combine their names. But Paul Winstanley is the one that's keen on bringing Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea, and they believe they can get him for a figure near £30 million, which I think, again, for a backup player, I'd absolutely take that. And I think Alejandro Garnacho could be someone that has the potential to explode in the right environment. I think he just needs an arm around his shoulder. Don't like the player. I don't like the amount of baggage he brings. But then again, I know Manchester United hinder a lot of people's careers, and I think a lot of them are just begging to be out as of now. So, not going to hold that too much against him. And I do think he's someone that can explode because he has shown flashes. So, really intrigued to see this deal develop. And I'm really intrigued to see Garnacho in a Chelsea shirt because I do want to see how he develops over here and see if Maresca can get him right. The same way that I hope he can do Gittins, and hopefully there is a good battle on that left wing, and both of them can really push each other because I think both could be good wingers. I think Gittins a little bit better of a winger by far as of now, but I think Alejandro Garnacho could be very good in the future as a backup option, but even someone that can rotate with the starting side if need be. Um, so yeah, obviously not my favorite player, but I think someone that could excel here at Chelsea when he's placed in the right environment with, right teammates and has the right attitude going in. More Fabrizio said, don't forget about the Alejandro Garnacho story. I mean, it's hard not to. Seems like he brings it up nearly every day and just says, don't forget about it. I understand what he's trying to do. He's saying, this deal is going to happen at some point in this transfer window if, the valuations line up between clubs. So just don't forget about it because you don't want it to go cold. People start asking, and it's like, it's the same old, same old. So just reminding us, don't forget about it. The deal is still likely to happen just later in this window, which we obviously all know already. Moving on to the attacking outgoings update. Fabrizio, on his own thing again, said that Nicholas Jackson will probably leave. Seems increasingly likely that he's going to leave the club. It seems almost certain at this point. Um, Everyone was like, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen, but it feels like it is bound to happen. Now it seems like it's really bound to happen, and there's no potential Nicholas Jackson for next season. I think it's just he is gone. I think he's guaranteed to leave at this point. Um, and then the Athletic said the final sum for Broy's move to Burnley is unlikely to be made public, so we're not going to understand how much the club truly made on Armando Broya, but we can anticipate it's around Chelsea's valuation, which was 25 million, so we can anticipate around at least 20 million coming into the club for Armando Broya. That's where I'd predict it to be. And then David Ornstein said that Nicholas Jackson increasingly likely to leave Chelsea. Suitors in the Premier League and abroad considering the 24-year-old if they do not land their top target losing existing player or alongside current options. Chelsea sales completed / agreed at £200 million plus, with 100 million to 150 million more expected. Um, yeah, if you read into this, you can see Nicholas Jackson increasingly likely. Suitors in the Premier League, if they do not land their top target, losing existing player or are alongside their current options. And I think it's pretty clear if you, again, read into this who it is, and I think that's Newcastle. If they don't land their top target, Sesko is going elsewhere. Lose existing player, Isak is bound to go to Liverpool. And alongside current options, we know he's on the list with Sesko. So it really seems like the club that, is the suitor for Nicholas Jackson will be Newcastle. Um, Again, their top target's gone in Sheshko and Ekatike. They're losing Isak, and he's already on their list. There's already been club-to-club contact between Chelsea and Newcastle on the conditions of the deal for Nicholas Jackson. So, I expect that to progress, especially since Sheshko is bound to make his decision, and I expect that to be Manchester United. So, yeah, I think Nicholas Jackson does become a Newcastle player. Moving on, Christopher Nkunku has been given permission to miss the start of preseason training. I think this is because he's trying to facilitate a move. Haven't seen anything on the Inter Milan front as of recent, but I do expect something to pick up and progress there because obviously they contacted his agent, missed out on Adam Lookman, and it doesn't seem like Inter Milan have really gone back in for him. So, intrigued to see how that develops, but I think Nkunku will be their alternative guy, and it's, yet to be seen if they are truly in for Nkunku as of yet, but, I expect them to be because obviously they have £48 million or 48 million euros, excuse me, to bid for Adam Lookman. So I think they'd at least have £35 million for Nkunku, and I think Chelsea would be willing to accept that because I do believe that is a profit on the books with an amortized deal, and obviously him spending 2 years at the club already. I do think that'd technically be a profit. So I do think Nkunku does head over to Italy, and I do think it's Inter Milan that is the suitor for him. But um, given permission to miss the start of preseason training is basically you're going to stay fit so you can facilitate a move to another club, but you're just not going to be here at Chelsea while you try to sort that out. So yeah, that's the situation on Christopher Nkunku. Moving on uh, to what Simon Johnson said. The Athletic posted an article today. That's probably why you see a lot of the Athletic with Ornstein and Simon Johnson, as well as just the Athletics page. But they said that Guiu's loan at Sunderland has a clause where a penalty fee will be paid if Guiu does not play a certain number of games. I'm actually really intrigued to see this because obviously one of my main concerns I talked about on this channel with Guiu going to Sunderland was how much game time is he going to get. Hopefully, there's some clauses in there that mandate that Guiu does have game time. Um, and it seems like that's the case because it seems like there's a penalty fee that if Guiu doesn't play, let's say, 15 games in the Premier League or 20 games in the Premier League, then Sunderland is going to have to, pay us some money. And I think that's Great bit of business by Chelsea because obviously we spent what £4 million to get Guiu through the door, and now we might be getting £4 million if he doesn't play 20 games in the Premier League to, maintain his development at a steady rate, and I'd say even higher rate because Sunderland is a great loan move for him if he does get the chances that he needs, as well as the amount of game time that he does need. And it seems like he will. If Sunderland don't want to pay that penalty fee. So we can expect Giroud to feature a lot next season, which I think is great because definitely makes watching Sunderland a lot easier. Obviously, they have Habib Diarra from um, Strasbourg, and then they have Giroud. So intrigued to watch Sunderland, intrigued to watch Burnley, the amount of Chelsea players they have there. So yeah, we'll see how these relegate or not relegation, but relegation battle teams, newly promoted teams will handle the Premier League, and Guy will be a part of that because it seems like he will be playing a lot of games because of this penalty fee that Sunderland um, must pay if he doesn't. Um, but moving on to Fabrizio on his YouTube channel, you can see the last sentence it does say channel, but he says that Nicholas Jackson is leaving Chelsea. It's not new news. If you have been following the channel, um, yeah, it seems now it's basically certain that Nicholas Jackson is leaving Chelsea. A little bit more today than as of recent, so I wonder if there was club-to-club contact. Maybe Sesko gave his decision to the clubs, and Newcastle is saying, "All right, it's time to go in for Nicholas Jackson. He can be our player. He can, lead the line in the Champions League, which I don't think is the best idea. But if Newcastle think that Nicholas Jackson is their best suited striker, then by all means go ahead and buy him. We'll take the 80 million. We'll take the 75 million. We'll even take the 70. Um, Obviously, their valuation is at £65 million. That is on a previous video. So check out the channel. Watch every video every single day if you do want the latest on Chelsea news. And if you aren't up to date, then I post a video every single day regarding Chelsea news. So every single day you can just go back to the day you missed, and then you can see the news that happened on that according day. But it seems like Nicholas Jackson is for sure leaving Chelsea, and it seems like Newcastle might be advancing on the deal. Just in the background, I think they understand that Sesko is most likely to head over to Manchester United. They already showed their intent, and Sesko still hasn't made a decision, so I think that shows to them that he's obviously favoring Manchester United and just holding out for them to do something. And obviously, Manchester United bid today, and it seems like Sesko is headed over there, so I do expect Nicholas Jackson to head to Newcastle. So I think that's why it's almost certain that he is leaving Chelsea, and Fabrizio said that, it's not even a chance that he stays, he is leaving. But that is everything on the attacking outgoings. Moving over to Carney Chukwemeka, a source from Borussia Dortmund said that Dortmund are negotiating for a Carney loan plus obligation to buy at around 21 to 26 million. The obligation would be live if Carney played a certain number of games. I don't like this. Obviously, that's already a very low fee for a player of Carney's quality. We want £35 million. If you're getting him for around this fee, then it must be a transfer. It's not going to be a loan plus obligation to buy, and it's not even an obligation. Because it's a certain number of games. You just have to buy the player straight up. Stop playing hardball. We're not going to give into it. We're only negotiating for a transfer. If not, Carney will go somewhere else. Obviously, he does want to move to Borussia Dortmund, but Chelsea are not stupid. They know that Carney does have an injury history. That's why they lowered the fee. But if we do lower the fee, then you have to take the player on a permanent, not just a loan with an obligation. Um, and a clause in the obligation that can get Borussia Dortmund out of it. So you know, really trying to play hardball on the Borussia Dortmund front, but Chelsea are not going to budge. I doubt. I think it's going to be a permanent transfer with a transfer fee, not a loan plus obligation. Because again, Chelsea are not going to put up with that, and we do need sales to register players for the Champions League this upcoming season because we need to be pretty much at a net of negative 60 million to register every single player. And Corney will be a big piece in that with that, at least £25 million that we are going to get for him to leave the club. So I doubt Chelsea negotiate for a loan with an obligation. Moving on. Estevao was announced today. He said that he's very happy. It feels very rewarding to represent Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he is very happy and he hopes to help the team in the best way possible. Um, yeah, finally announced. Obviously, we signed him in December of 2023. It is now August of 2025, so a long time coming, but Estevao is officially a Chelsea player. Finally, I think everyone's been anticipating this. Trained yesterday, did it, or I think did his media yesterday, and then trained today. Announcement came out today. Estevao is officially a Chelsea player, um, and these are some of his quotes. He said on or he was asked why he joined, and he said the plans and structure of the club, mainly the plans in the project, is what interested me and my family, and I think it was the best decision we could have made. So he seems pretty certain on that decision. So, fair play to Estevao for that. Really hope he excels here. Obviously, not going to put too much pressure on an 18-year-old kid, um, but it does seem like he could be very successful at Chelsea with the amount of potential he's already shown over at Palmeiras. So, definitely going to follow his development. I think everyone will. But it seems like Estevao seems to be happy with his decision, seems to be happy coming to Chelsea, and we can expect him to probably feature in the game against Leverkusen on August 8th. So, we'll be looking out for him. Hopefully, he drops a decent performance. But I do think he's a player with loads of potential, and I think someone that is pretty much bound to succeed at Chelsea. It's just when will he be ready to, really start. I know he's already going to be integrated into the first team this season, but it's really a matter of when he'll start here. But I think he's going to have an instant impact his first season at Chelsea. Um, Another quote said that after he signed for Chelsea in the final game of 2024, he played against Thiago, as in Thiago Silva. He came and talked to me. He said I was going to love the club, and now I can see how amazing this club is. So, one of our legends, Thiago Silva, obviously only played here for a couple of years, but I regard him as a Chelsea legend. Came and talked to Estevao and said that, you're going to love everything about the club, and he's recognizing that as of now. So it seems like he's happy and settling in here at London. Obviously, his family is also here with him to support him in this journey. So, seems like he has the right environment around him to succeed, and I expect him to. And I'm glad, feels at home at Chelsea as of now, obviously. Um, Feels like the club's great. Feels like he made a great decision for his career and his career's development. So yeah, you know, we can expect Estevao to make an impact this season, and all these quotes are very rewarding because it's been a long time coming. And he did say his long-term goals were that he wants to win the Premier League with Chelsea, obviously, the Champions League, and then become the best player in the world, which he definitely has the potential to. Um, Moving on. Oh nope, that is my Twitter actual profile. If you do want to go follow me on Twitter, um, it's uh YT Repulse 2X. I can, pull up my Twitter here if you'd like to see it. Um, YouTube Repulse 2X. My other got falsely suspended, so I am trying to get that back in the meantime. Oh, we will take that out. We'll do this, and we will go back to here. So this is the last thing we are talking about. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe. Thank you all for the support. As always, gained around 10 subscribers today, so thank you all so much for that. On the road to 300, then on the road to 400, 500, so on and so forth. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning into the videos. And as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.